Seonkyoung guest. Welcome to Asian at Home. And today we are going to make amazing chicken ramen at home. Are you excited? One of the biggest surprise I had in Japan was chicken ramen. Usually ramen is made with pork, but these chicken ramens I had in Japan was just blowed my mind. I had to recreate at home, and this is one of chicken ramen I'm gonna share today. So I made my chicken broth already, and this is how I made it. You will need one whole chicken, about 4 to 5 pounds, and it's very important to using fresh, good quality, at least free range to organic, non-GMO chicken, because we are going to make the broth heck out of it from it. So make sure the chicken is really great quality. The first thing we need to do is break this chicken down. So let's cut off the wings first. When you find the joint between the bones and bones, it's really easy to cut it through. After 2 wings are separated, now we are going to cut off the legs. So when you're trying to looking at between the body and the leg, you will see this little thin part of the chicken skin. That's where the knife needs to go in, start cutting. So the leg and thigh will be separate from the body. Do the exactly same thing to the other side. Alright, let's take the chicken breast out. Find the middle bone in between the breast. You can feel it with your finger. Using the tip of your knife, slowly but carefully separate the meat from the bone. Don't worry, there's still a lot of meat is left on the bone. You can just scrape out however you want to, because we are not trying to have this perfect looking chicken breast and cook it as a steak. We are gonna ground this up, so how it looks right now, it doesn't matter. And some meat actually need to be attached on the bone, so that will give really great flavor to the broth as well. Now we are gonna separate the breastbone and the backbone. Place the breastbone and the backbone into a large pot. Then place chicken wings, the neck bone if it's coming with the chicken. If not, don't worry about it. Now we are going to separate the meat from the thigh and the drumstick, so we can use the bones for the broth as well. Using your tip of the knife, so take your time and cut the meat off from either side of the bone. Go through all around the bone on the bottom, so the meat and skin will detach from the base of the drumstick. Carefully place your knife underneath of the thigh bone and make sure you always cut it away from you. Same thing to the drumstick. Go around with your knife, scraping all the meat from the bone as much as possible and cut the bone out from the meat. The gristle and the meat will be really closely attached, so make sure you don't have any gristle on the meat. Alright, there is your thigh and the drumstick meat for chashu for chicken ramen. Ta-da! Put the leg bones into the pot and just do exactly the same thing to the other leg. To the chicken breast, all we have to do is just remove the skin. You can add into the stock or cook it with the chashu meat, make it really nice crispy chicken skin, but it's all up to you. Now we are going to add 3 pounds of chicken feet. Chicken feet is really easy to find at your local Asian grocery stores or ask your butcher shop. Usually they do have it. You will also need 1 pound of chicken backbones. We are going to pour cold water to the pot, just enough to cover the chicken. Let them sit for 30 minutes, so this way we can get rid of some of the blood from the chicken bones. Rinse one more time with cold water, then drain completely. Now we are going to pour 26 cups of cold water to the pot and 1 cup of sake. If you don't want to use alcohol in your food, go ahead and skip it and just add 27 cups of cold water. Bring the soup to boil over high heat, and you will see a lot of foams and dirty scums floating on the surface when they start boiling. And guess what? We need to skimming out all of that for nice and clean flavor ramen noodle soup. Let the soup keep hard boiling and keep skimming out all the dirty foams. It will take about 10 to 15 minutes. Then reduce the heat to medium, cover, and we are gonna simmer for 5 hours. While the broth is boiling, we are gonna working on our tare. In the world of ramen, tare is what will give all the salty, seasoning, and flavor to the broth. In a medium-sized pot, add 1 ounce of kombu, dried kelp, 1 bulb of garlic cut in half, 2 ounces of ginger that's sliced, 1 large leek, cut in half lengthwise and wash it all the way through all the dust and mud. And we are going to use only the white part. 3 to 4 dried shiitake mushrooms, 1 cup of sake, rice wine, and 3 cups of cold water. Again, if you don't want to use alcohol in the recipe, go ahead and replace the sake to water. 2 tablespoons of sea salt, 2 tablespoons of sugar. Let's bring this to boil over high heat and let it hard boil for 10 minutes. Then reduce the heat to medium and cover, simmer for 1 hour. When it's ready, cool it slightly and drain through a fine strainer. Squeeze all the juice out from all the vegetables because that's where the umami flavor at. I'm going to pour half of the tare into another bowl and add 4 tablespoons of gochugaru, Korean red pepper flakes. And yes, in Japan, when they're making really spicy stuff, they actually do use gochugaru. Mix in. So now you have regular shio tare and the spicy tare. So my tare is ready to go. My broth is still simmering right now. I'm working on the chicken meatball that goes into the ramen. This is so flavorful, so fragrant. I already seasoned it all and this is how I did. We are gonna use the chicken breast that we cut it up earlier. Just cut them into big chunk and put it into a food processor. Add 2 tablespoons of butter, then cut it into like a little small piece size, like you would do for the biscuit. And pulse about 8 to 12 times, or the chicken is finely ground. Transfer to a mixing bowl, and we are gonna grate a clove of garlic and same amount of ginger into the chicken. Add 1 tablespoon of starch, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, and 1 tablespoon of mirin. Add a little pinch of black pepper, 1 egg, and 2 tablespoons of finely ground sesame seeds. Mix everything together with your hand. Tata meatball mixture is ready to go. I'm just going to cover with the plastic wrap and set aside into the refrigerator. After 3 hours of simmering, we are gonna start smashing the bone down with a potato masher or a thick spatula. Smash the bones every 30 minutes or so. And when the soup is only 30 minutes left to finish, this is the time we are going to smash them like we mean it. You will see the broth is milky and creamy by now, and there's really not a big piece of bones anymore. Everything is like broke down and the meat is broke down already, and that is what we want. And now add 1 more cup of water because we evaporate a lot of moisture in here, and cover and let them finish cooking. So meanwhile, we are waiting the chicken broth to be finished. I'm going to just go ahead and prep my toppings, the cabbage and some green onions. Alright, my chicken soup is ready to drain and it's kinda heavy, so I'm gonna call Jacob again. Help, Jacob! Ba -ba -ba. So for this, you will need to use really fine strainer because there's a lot of bone bits and the meat that broke down. Okay. Oh. Okay, now what I need to do, smashing this pork bones.
Here, I'll hold this one.
Okay. Okay, not like a smashing, but like a squeeze all the juice out, you know what I mean? Like you wanna squeeze all this juice out. You put so much work into it, you don't wanna lose anything. This creamy chicken soup is ready, we strained. I'm going to put it back to the pot. I just quickly rinse it off. It's still the same chicken juice, you know what I mean? So that's just quickly rinsed off. And just in case, if there's a little small bone might be got into the soup, so I'm going to double strain it. So a little more fine strainer, I'm going to strain, and it's gonna be heavenly. This is what the chicken soup tastes like in the heaven. we are going to bring this soup back to boil so we can start cooking our meatballs in it. When the soup is boiling again, start to drop the meatballs using this little small ice cream scoop. Cook the meatballs 5 to 7 minutes or until they all floated to the surface. That means they are fully cooked. Add 2 tablespoons of chicken powder. I mean, we worked really hard for this broth, but not hard as the real masters in Japan, the real ramen masters in Japan. You know what I mean? So we still need a little bit of help. And meanwhile, the meatballs are cooking. I'm going to heat my broiler to high and start cooking my chicken thigh, skin side up, season with pinch of salt and pepper, and broil them 10 to 12 minutes on the middle rack or until the chicken is fully cooked and skin is nice golden brown, crispy. Alright, the meatball and the chicken chashu is all rock and roll in the kitchen. Now I'm going to drop my napa cabbage into salted boiling water. Cook the napa cabbage for about 3 to 5 minutes or until they are softened. Alright, my cabbage is perfectly blanched. Now I'm going to drop my noodles. Today I'm using the noodles from my local Japanese store. So they call this is tonkotsu noodles. It's really thin, like super tiny thin, straight wheat noodles. They're perfect for this like creamy, milky, thick broth. But if you cannot find this, please go ahead and use somen or soumyeon. It's a dried noodles that you can find. It's very similar with this, the tonkotsu noodles. Or you can go ahead and use angel hair pasta. So I'm going to drop this into the same boiling water that I blanched the napa cabbage and cook it about 1 minute because this is fresh noodles. But if you're using dried noodles, go ahead and follow the direction of the package you're using. The best chicken chashu ever. Oh, this dark meat, crispy skin. I'm way too excited right now. Let's assemble the ramen. Alright, to assemble the ramen, obviously you need a serving bowl. I actually recommend the serving bowl that is wide and deep enough to hold all the noodles and toppings and the soup and everything. Okay, now let's make the basic one first. The basic tare, let's put it on like this. 1/4 cup to 1/3 cup, however you like your ramen paste to be. And for this thick and creamy milky ramen, we've got to have a fresh grated garlic into the bowl. So this fresh garlic flavor actually cut off those little bit of the fattiness from the broth. Chicken soup. Make sure your soup is boiling hot. Add the ramen noodles. And just stir the noodles in the soup like this so the noodles will evenly coated with the broth. Grab the noodles and lay it down. A little bit of this blanched cabbage and the meatballs and the chicken chashu we made earlier, nice and crispy skin. They look so gorgeous. Look at that. Am I the only one so excited? And bunch of green onion. Some sesame seeds that grind it up. Last finale, the ramen egg. If you don't know how to make this perfect ramen egg, go ahead and check it out. My recipe is right there. Click right there. Make the perfect ramen egg for this perfect bowl of ramen, okay? Let's make the spicy one. Oh, I'm excited for the spicy one. Let's try the basic one first.
Oh my gosh, we've been smelling this stuff all day long. Oh my god. That broth is so on point.
I can't even. Let me taste the meatball too.
Meatball.
The smell. Oh, so good. And this chicken is so good. So simple but so good. Yuzu kosho in the white one.
It doesn't even need anything else.
Yuzu kosho. This is what like blowed my mind in the creamy chicken ramen in Japan. This is a yuzu, the Japanese trust, pounded up with spiced chili and salt. So salty, spicy, and citrusy. So just add a little bit. You can purchase yuzu kosho really easily online or your local Asian grocery stores or Japanese grocery stores. I will put the link down below so you can find it. So just mix it in like this.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so good. It takes it to a whole different game.
Can I taste my ramen egg?
Oh my gosh. I had to give you a kiss. I mean, yes, because I love her, but just mainly right now because she made this stuff.
Let's try the spice one. Who doesn't like spicy ramen noodles?
The depth of flavor that both of them have,
Ridiculous.
I'm gonna try one of those chicken. Soaking in that one. I'm gonna try one of those chicken.
It's so good, so satisfying.
That one's really good. I can't wait to put that one in there. The yuzu stuff in there. That's what.
Put it.
Yeah,
Put it.
Because I already know.
Oh my god.
Dude, I already know. It's gonna be another ball game. Like, this recipe might not be like super easy, but I think the way that you described it made it easier than it normally would be. Doable at home, no doubt. Definitely worth it.
Guys, if you loved my ramen recipe, chicken ramen recipe, this deserves love. Like is not enough. Give us a heart and love and thumbs up for this amazing chicken ramen recipe. And subscribe my channel for more inspirations and idea of Asian home cooking. Thank you so much for watching us today. And remember, you can always cook Asian food at your house, making it easy and fun. I'm Seonkyoung Longast, and this is Asian at Home. And we will see you next time. Bye! Mwah.